In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to AI automation for your business. Now, most times people think the automation is something you put in first time and it works every time, and AI can handle everything you're thinking about, everything your business wants done. But the simple fact is, when you are creating the AI solution, you need humans as part of the entire process. Even if you are going to automate an entire workflow from start to the end, you need humans to be part of the decision making. So, as an example, when businesses look at their processes, so things like replying to a customer inquiry, updating your CRM, generating a quote automatically, even booking calls, these things are things that the AI and your automation can handle quite easily. But when it comes to making a decision, because the AI is generative, often it will hallucinate and might make the wrong decision. So, part of your process would have to be to break down all of the sequences required to complete your workflow and then automate them in bits. Now, it doesn't need to take a very long time for that to happen. It just needs to be part of your plan. So the smarter thing to do to begin with is to automate a small chunk of your processes. So the human is not really there to create a friction. They're just there to help gate things that are happening from the beginning. So things like reading inquiries, drafting replies, suggesting the next action, all those things have been pretty worn. So they're very easy to do, but you need to factor in how the humans involvement would be factored into your solution. And typically what we do is that you'd have essentially multiple workflows that combine at different points. So as an example, we built a solution for a company that receives inquiries and receives leads. Now, one of the things that the company requires done is that when the lead comes in, we collate all of the information and then generate an email for that lead. Now, what happens is that at the big initial stage, the lead comes in. We extract the email address, we extract information about their website and anything related to that lead, and then an email is automatically generated. Now, that email is then sent to a Slack group, and then in that Slack group, a human would read the email and then click send or amend or perform any different sets of actions. So there you've got the human involved and making sure that the information that goes back out to the lead is actually what the business wants their company to be sending out to people. So what I've got on the screen here is a high level screenshot from an automation system called N8N. And this system essentially receives a message through something called a webhook. And when that information comes in, we're then searching different records and pulling information from those records and generating documents and then pushing that into a centralized platform. Now, we did this over multiple workflows, but the key is a even that initial set of automation is good because it saves time for the employees and for the staff, and it removes some of the thinking that needs to happen or the context switching. So if you're doing something and then a lead pops in, you may want to drop that thing you're doing if you need to respond to the lead quickly. So that gets removed. And then what happens is the AI does the initial response, extracts the information, queries the customer, qualifies that client, and then generates the next step, which is where the human being gets involved. So it's about reducing the cognitive load on the staff. So the best place to put your approval is where there's likely to be a risk. So why is the approval point at the point where the email is sent? That's because if your AI hallucinates, then you may send the wrong information out. You may send information that doesn't tally with your culture. So you want to make sure that somebody's involved. So things like sending external emails, definitely you want a human being to be involved. Yeah, committing to deadlines. You've heard the story of AI selling a car for $1. So that happens because all of the decision making is done by the AI, and nobody has been there to make sure that some of those guardrails are adhered to. So humans will be involved in doing things like committing you to any price or any figure. So that's where these are the places where you want human approval. And if you've done the human approval long enough, you can create the rules that then mean that there's some reliability in what's created. Now, here's another aspect of the automation that I shared previously. So when the person at the Slack end clicks submit or clicks approve or whatever they decide to do, information is sent back to the automation system, which is our AI system, and then a different workflow ensues. So here, the information comes in, and then you've got this bit in the middle here that's a switch, and that switch statement is just different decisions that have to be made at that point, depending on the information that's come in. So all of a sudden, at that decision point, you've got four different things that could happen. Some might be do nothing, some might be update a record, another might be send a message, a Slack message, which is this third route. And the final one might just be to do a search, send an updated message, and then update another record. So there are different things you can do. All of these things would be aspects of your business that would come up during an AI audit or an AI assessment of your workflows. So the first version you release is really about observation, taking into account all of the information and the requirements that were gathered during the requirement stage and making sure that the solution is doing exactly what you want. But the key aspects is to try and determine what those edge cases are. Because as a human doing this role, there are many things you just do cognitively, easily, and without even thinking. But with AI coming in, you have to make sure that all of those aspects are captured and documented and implemented correctly. So you can start with a manual approval. So some like a Slack group message comes in, somebody clicks a button there and then approves it. And then you go to something more automated, and then the workflow starts to graduate from that point. Now, speed is of the essence, and the human approval might not be needed for every single thing. You might start to create different categories for what would need human approval, and then you start to give the AI and the automation a lot more autonomy. Well, the key thing is saving you time, saving you the effort, and saving your staff that cognitive load. So the best AI automations do not remove humans on day one. They may eventually remove humans from the process, but you would always have a catch-all. You do need that catch-all, that bin where everything that that catches the exception. So all of the other rules you've set in place have worked, and then determine that the process is not for them, or that particular workflow is not working for them, or does not match their criteria. So they then send it to a different workflow that involves the human and the human approval. So even after day one, there will still be humans involved, depending on the workflow and depending on the process, your business process that you've automated. And all of these things exist right now and would come up during the AI assessment and the AI audit. So I am Uwa, the founder of AI. We help HVAC companies catch their estimates. We help other companies as an agency automate their business processes. And as I go through these different videos, I talk about some of the solutions that we've created for our clients, and things like chasing estimates, recovering of revenue, things like margin tracking, and building HR portals. We've done quite a few things for different businesses. So it's very likely that I'll be able to help you. At the very least, I'll be able to give you an initial discovery so that you can see where AI and automation can help your business. So thank you so much for your time. Until next time, keep winning.